But they going as it goes. What's going on with you today? We starting at 7:30 tonight. This in online prayer. Let's know that we actually here. Mhm. Get you involved in my book. Mhm. Well, time just seems to float by, man.
Yeah, man. I've been noticing that ever since the time change. It's been I was at the clock 6.
Right.
It was just 4 o'clock.
Right. At least ain't the only one going through that. And what I do, I just allow myself to, okay, no problem. I said I'm gonna start at 7:30. It's not 7:30. I didn't start, so it's not no major big deal.
No, the last time started at 7.
Yeah. But I got some, cause right now I get ready to be summertime.
Mm-hmm.
So I had actually two kids from Boca that called me that want to start doing hamstring rehab. So they want to come today. So I kind of said, you know what? So let me just make it at 7:30. I can get them involved. But still, that ain't happening because traffic got backed up and whatever it may be. But I'm like, summertime schedule, man. More room. Yeah, man. Just releasing my brother. How you sleeping that night, man?
I'm actually I watched this video. I was saying how
I mean, too loud.
you turn on.
Might be almost popular. Better?
Yeah, yeah. I was watching a video and um, in the video he was saying if you live in the south,
Mm-hmm.
it's better to have your body face towards
Your
the
body?
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
have your body face towards the east.
Gotcha.
And he was saying who, people who have their head facing towards the north, and I guess the Earth's magnetic pull
Mm-hmm.
has something to do with I guess they're sleeping, not sleeping as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, let me go and try that and see if it works.
Face the east, huh?
Yeah, I've been trying it. It's been pretty good. I like it. I've been having better dreams.
Mm-hmm.
Not last
Mm-hmm.
night, but
Majority.
yeah,
Yeah.
this past week I've been doing it. I'm like, it's pretty good. I like it. How about you?
Yeah. Shit, my sleeping kind of lately. I've been waking up in like sweating,
Mm.
like releasing old belief system. You know, when you're in the transition of jumping to different higher energy frequencies, the old you have to melt away.
Mm-hmm.
And the best time to melt away is when you sleep. Yeah,
Yeah.
cause now your conscious mind can't say yeah, no. And then most times too, it's like in that spine area. I wake up like I'm in a pool of sweat. Like I wake up like, what the fuck is this? Like, yeah, it's like a change my clothes, but I understand what it is like almost how a snake sheds the skin. Same thing too. Yeah, so you understand what it was and what it is. It's been going on since for a couple of months. I actually went to the hospital one time. So I knew what it was. I said, but let me just verify. Fever like 103. They ran all kind of tests. Like, hey, man, like we gotta just send you home. Like,
Even
what's
so,
wrong with you?
even like physically, like you had AC on,
Yeah, of course.
and you were still sweating like that.
Yeah.
And,
Mhm. That's the part of the evolution. You have to like if it was an onion, you gotta burn the other hurdles off of you,
Mhm.
and it heats up through the kundalini, which is that spine. Everything go through there. So that spine is like fire hard is activating. It's healing. It's revealing. It's sending messages.
I agree with that.
Hmm.
That makes sense.
And so once you recognize, you're like you ain't tripping. Like, oh, I ain't sleeping. You're like, no, let me understand what's going on. Why I'm sleeping. Like, what's really happening in the process of sleeping. Because now you're in other realms. I wake up with scratches on me. Like what's going on here? So you putting work in other realms. That way you wake up tired. Your body here, but your spirit somewhere else, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, you putting work in, man.
It was one dude saying how right now it's a dream, and when we go to sleep it's a dream. So it really like our mind can't even tell the difference.
But once again, who said this ain't a dream? But it seems real. So who says that's not real? It's real. Like it's really real. Like, and that's why I love this book right here because it actually helps us to understand, to accept what's real. Because the ego has a limited system. When something happens outside of ego they can't explain, it dumb it down and try to make sense of it. It get left brain very logical. You're gonna be right brain, very creative and receiving. But to understand, like, hey man, like it's cool to go through, but let me be aware of what's going on. Like what part of could this stop me from growing or could it actually help me with growing? That's how I look at it. And every person, every situation. Okay, we live. I see your hat. So everything we do, to me, every person I come across, they're a teacher for me to teach me something. This right here, this is my universe. I'm getting a master degree in myself. Nothing happens outside of me. It's whatever going on inside of me is gonna reflect that outside of me. Yeah. Okay. Well, we this really it's like a slight lag.
Yeah, like I think like you said, like a 10 to 20 second lag.
Gotcha. So we got people involved here. How y'all doing this lovely evening? We're discussing power versus force. But what we're doing is we're allowing our force to kind of settle in. So let you settle in a little bit. Where we got our watchers at? Oh, you think going that one time, man. Just turn that down. Behind the stage situation. So somebody live here. All right. Well,
You know, YouTube and Facebook.
yeah, I'm on 3 Facebooks and 1 YouTube.
Free Facebook?
Yeah.
Live on free Facebook?
Yeah, so I'm on Namaste Thug Wellness, Way Energy, Zodiac Sign, and I'm on Harvard's School. That's why I like this the app I'm on StreamYard because it lets me go 3 places. So I'm on StreamYard here, so now I'm on different platforms. That's why 2 different places. This is just kind of having like the back office stuff, what people saying and what they got going on. Yeah. So I'm engineering over here, man. Yeah. So put that on comment. So yeah, we ready to rock and roll, man. Thanks for that. One person watching on YouTube that's in here with us, man. It's a lonely road, but you're not by yourself. It's just not too many people on this vibration because it's not a high dopamine hit. But it's spiritual food for me and it's spiritual food for less. And I do this for me. If somebody was watching, wasn't watching, or less wasn't here, I still was gonna do it. So when something is for you and the vision is for you, just do it. And as you keep doing it, be consistent, the people and the energy that need it will show up. So I do it for me. And whoever vibe on this journey with me, like that's what's up. But it's a weakness. So when you're ready, we're here every Thursday. We start at 7:30. 7:30. I mean you last week too, wasn't it last?
Yeah.
Okay.
She was present.
She does hair, she does nails, she's an entrepreneur, so that how it works, man. And she got kids. So yeah, that's how that is. Um, and we're continuing chapter 1, it is correct. And we stopped on the tractors from last week.
Yeah.
Does anything came up about that chapter that just in your everyday life that kind of resonated with what we went through last week? Give you some more light. Want some water or something?
No, I'm okay.
How's that light? I'm sure she'll be here shortly.
All right, no problem.
And it's our world, man. So ain't no right, wrong, no left, right.
I agree.
There's no person, you know.
I got you.
No right, gotta put on or perform.
Right.
Anything jump out at you yet?
Oh no, not yet. Not yet. But I was just rereading the last chapter.
Oh, got you. Did you have a chance to read the rest of the chapter?
No.
Man, some dope stuff in there. Wait till you dig into it, brother. Mm-hmm. And man, if you can, you know what? You don't have to get the digital book. I mean, the physical book. You get a download PDF of the book too. So if you're online, you don't have the physical book. The PDF is free. Go to the PDF. We're on page chapter 1, page 65. Follow along. Chime in.
Sometimes I'll read a word and I read the word before, I've seen it before, I've said it before, but I think I know what it means, and I'm like, do I know what that word means? And then I have to look it up.
For
Like,
facts.
Okay, that's what it means.
Oh man, I keep my dictionary with me because certain words I think I know what they mean, and once I get the meaning of it, it paints a whole different picture for me, 1,000%. And especially when it came to like a tractor pattern. We read that last week, and it kind of slid past my mind, so I reread it. The attractors, and this right here speaks about how they using the weather pattern, but the weather pattern is based on the chaos theory. And the chaos theory is actually non-linear dynamics, which they use the weather on. But chaos theory just means that so-called a lump of math with no data means nothing. That's what chaos theory was. Once the computers came and started showing different graphics, it had like hidden numbers in certain things. They realized the chaos theory was no longer true. That universe is actually evolving all the time. So it cancels out the chaos theory. So now it's speaking about what kind of attractive factors are we attracting based on that thought process in our mind. So I'm like, whoa, like wow. Remember they said not too many people in the public know about it, but we use the weather to use it. You think they would mention it every now and again? Mental freedom.
I think how he broke it down when he said not too many people know about it. I think the way he put it, with the history back in the 70s, 60s, I think people do know they're aware of it, but I don't think they're able to explain it. Like there's sometimes I could feel and know something, but I never actually took the time out to do the research on that. But if I read, oh, okay, I see what it means.
Facts.
That's just for me.
Yeah, definitely. And that's all you can. That's your thesis. That's your hypothesis. Yeah, so I definitely get it. But this right here, this actually gives us a platform to actually speak about it in the public, dissect and actually truly see how it works in a tangible fashion in 3D. Like how does it actually function? They use the weather for it. Yeah, like they use the so-called chaos theory of nonlinear dynamics to predict the weather. So they use it to so-called predict the weather. Why can't we use it to manipulate and make ourselves feel more joyful? That's the main thing that when I looked at this book got me to understand it. And as I'm reading it, I wrote notes to myself that the last time I put this book up was like in 19 like 2 years ago, 2019.
2019.
Yeah, so I stepped away from it 2 years ago and picked it back up. I'm like, whoa, like at the time it didn't make sense to me.
So that was the first time you read it.
Was the first time 2 years ago? Yeah, 2 years ago.
Found it or somebody recommended it?
Somebody recommended it to me. Yeah, and the person recommended it to me. It was cool, but the way they looked at the book, it was just like a chapter book, just something to read through. When I read it, I seen a whole nother dynamic. I'm like, whoa, like this book is like. And I started talking to the person about it. I realized they didn't consume the book. They just read the book to read it. And I seen it. It showed me like the physics of actually what's going on, the smallest, the invisible. Because we only believe in visible, but it has to be invisible to become visible. So why do we believe in something visible, but we don't believe in invisible? Like to me, that was like, whoa, like it, like that phone. They had to be invisible in somebody's mind first to make it visible.
Yeah.
Same thing with the phones and everything. It had to be invisible first. So this helps to understand. Let's go to the invisible to make it visible. To enfold it so it can unfold. So this me kind of gave it. It's not so hoodoo no more. But religion got a Bible. This for me is like something that people looking for a spiritual walk. You can vibe with this right. It's not a Bible, but it's almost given and it's based on data.
Right.
It's not emotions. You got data for this right here.
Right.
That's why I love it.
And it's like how you said in the past. Two things I'm gonna say. Like you said in the past, they will study us because we set the example of how to live in this world. To live in this world, but not be of this world, right? And that's based off of the ancient Egypt of them going through so much drama, whatever we went to finally get to okay, this is how I think. This is how we're going with the wave and being at peace with the flow to get to that point. And then go through the whole chaos of losing that information being passed on. So in a way, what you just said, life itself gives us data without even having to go to school.
If you tap into it.
If you tap into it,
yes.
Exactly.
If you tap into it, because life is organic. And what, like you said, mentioned Egypt. Egypt was not organic. That's why I go to Ethiopia. We're still living, still functioning. So when you go to Egypt, and I don't want to get biblical, but God said don't go in Egypt because He didn't let my people respect the Sabbath. Like don't go back in there. So why we go in there to understand who we are? Why I can go to Ethiopia and talk to the people who still living? Why I gotta go through other people on the wall? So it's like I go past all of that. Yeah. I want if you living, why can I talk to you? Why I gotta go talk to a wall? Let me talk to people who still living and breathing, so I ain't gotta assimilate what's going on.
You know what is that's like the closest thing that when I go back into nature and this history, is, okay, who am I? It always looks at Egypt, Kemet, right? And I do hear about Ethiopia, but it's not as publicized.
It wouldn't be because they're still functioning because they will unbrainwash you.
I got you.
It's easy for me to say, look, this is Egypt, right? On the walls. But if you understand, this is in my mind, Egypt and Ethiopia, all that's in Africa. They have Egypt not there.
Right.
But then they want a non-melanated person to depict what's on the wall to me. But I go to Ethiopia, the people that look like me and still have the Sabbath on the Saturday, not the Sunday. That they show that y'all changed all of that. So why keep feeding it if I really want to know myself to be released? If I can go to Ethiopia, who's still thriving, who's still in Africa, who's still functioning, and still got what's going on in my mind. If you want the truth, go to the people.
Yeah.
Right. In my mind, yeah. So why would they talk about it? No, they're not because they don't want to free you. They want to keep you where you at, brother. Yeah, and mental feathers.
And the second part was I know you said about how what he said how they use it to measure the weather to see hey the forecast was going to happen the next couple of days.
Yes.
And then when you said that, I'm like and you said the chaos theory. I never heard that before.
No.
But which then connects it with if they use a chaos theory to see what's going to happen coming, in the future. So then how can we use that in a way to see what's going to come where that's not really what
that's not what it's doing. So what happens is the way that the nonlinear helps with weather where the computer shows different patterns. So with the patterns, you can see it's not predicting. You can see what's going to happen. So with this now, prime example, with nonlinear meaning it's invisible, like you can't see it, but it has attractors which is here that helps manifest it to happen. So they're projecting fear like, oh my God, something bad gonna happen. Guess what happened? Something bad gonna happen. Wait, reverse it. Oh my God, something good gonna happen. Guess what happened? Something good gonna happen. But I gotta trick you into feeding to that fear field to make it manifest. This way you don't gotta feed into that fear at all. Period. So if you're dealing with fear, you can't have harmonious understanding. You can't be aware. Because fear is very low vibration. It's 100. We want to be above 200. So if I'm in fear, I'm nowhere near where I need to be. That's a good place to pivot from, but not place to set camp and say I'm at 100. No, because it's that's force. You gotta keep feeding it, keep feeding it, keep feeding it. And a lot of stuff I'm saying it refreshed me from chapter 8. So that's why we're gonna probably go to chapter 8 next to understand the infields and everything I'm talking about right now. Cause just make, cause you're a super smart dude anyway. It'll help you to unlearn what most people have from a religion base. I don't have a religion base. So I don't have nothing to compare to a religion. Say this do it don't make sense. I wasn't raised like that. So it's kind of easy for me not to have nothing to have it compared to what I say. Well, just do it don't make sense to me. It's kind of about how I feel. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm.
All right, you want to start off?
Yeah, feel of dominance. Or you want to go back? You want to start over attractors and go from there? How you want to do that?
I'll start with field dominance.
Okay.
All right. Fields of dominance. A field of dominance is exhibited by high energy patterns and their influence over weaker ones.
Read that over again, please.
A field of dominance is exhibited by high energy patterns and their influence over weaker ones. This may be likened to the coexistence of a small magnetic field within the much larger, more powerful field of giant electromagnetic.
Okay, pause for a second. Does that make sense to you? What you just read?
No,
Because this something new, right? So we only got two type of energies, highs and lows, right? And no medium. So a field of dominance exhibited by a high energy pattern in the influence of a weaker pattern. So we got high patterns that influence weaker patterns. Same thing like people. We got higher people that influence weaker patterns. And those weaker patterns affect our behaviors. So we have to disconnect from the lower patterns and get with them high patterns that's true down to the lower energy patterns. That makes sense?
makes sense.
That's kind of what that's saying. So read it again and see if it makes sense to you now.
A field of dominance is exhibited by high energy patterns and their influence over weaker ones.
Mm-hmm.
This may be likened to the coexistence of a small magnetic field within a much larger, more powerful field of a giant electromagnetic.
See, it's coexisting. So then, if it's not outside, everything is inside. The larger and the lower. So the lower is dominating something lower than that, but they all coexist and no separation.
Saying you said the lower is also dominating much lower.
Yes.
Okay.
So the higher dolate that dominates that, then that dominates something lower than
And
that.
is it vice versa?
Right. The lower can't dominate the high. It's like water. Water don't trickle up. Water trickles down. Same thing. This right here. The higher influence the lower.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The phenomenological universe is the expression of the interaction of endless attractor patterns of varying strengths. The unending complexities of life are the reflections of the endless revibrations of the augmentations and dominations of these fields.
Want to read that again? That makes sense to you?
With words.
Yeah. That's why I said sometimes you gotta double read it
Yeah.
because this ain't everyday. This is not everyday
I
vocabulary.
got you. So the phenomenological universe is the expression of the interaction of endless attractive patterns of varying strengths.
Okay, pause for a second. Does that kind of make sense to you?
Phenomenological universe is the expression of the interaction of endless
On various strengths. Remember, the highs and lows share the same thing. So on various levels, all of them are sharing an endless attractive pattern. So now it's up to you to decide which one you want to attach yourself to, low or high. 'Cause all of them in the same realm, ain't no separate realm. That's up to you with your willpower. Which one do I want to magnetize to or attract to? Because they coexist, remember, there's no separation. And I would know you got to be able to coexist as a larger energy field with lower energy fields involved in as well too. Make sense?
Yeah. Then the next one is the how you doing?
Yeah, yeah, Naraski, Jamaican man.
And it says the unending complexities of life are the reflections of the endless revibrations of the augmentations and the diminutions of the spheres.
Facts. What happened, Les? You went mute?
Oh, that was gonna wait for the
Oh, got you. Okay, got you. What you need, y'all?
Nothing. Nothing.
I talked to Pete. Pete said he might try to slide through too.
oh Pete.
Yeah, he came. He came 2 weeks ago. Yeah. Y'all want to say what's up to Big Nana over here? Big Nana in the creative lead. The original Orisha, the head of Orisha. Big Nana I talk about.
Hola.
Hola, ¿cómo está? Hey, we building. I told y'all. Just be on page 65, y'all. Literally
65?
65. hmm And we just flipped over this or no? The
I was
unending.
about to, but
Okay, you
I'll
read
read
it
it.
again, right?
Yeah,
So we at now the unending
Yeah.
complexity of life.
yeah.
So we on the bottom of page 65, the last sentence of that paragraph, the
Gotcha.
unending.
Oh, that's circle.
Okay, let's go ahead.
The unending complexities of life are the reflections of the endless reverberations of the augmentations and dominations of these fields,
hmm
compounded by their harmonics and other interactions.
Okay, anything that you want to speak on about that? Because Nana said she got it circled. So let's anything you want to speak on about that last sentence, the unending complexity of life, reflection of endless reverberations or augmentations and dimensions of their fields.
No, this not gonna make sense.
Mm-hmm.
It makes sense. It's it's a compounding effect to
Mm.
everything,
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
it makes sense. Um, what's the next one? Critical point analysis.
Nana, anything you want to say?
Oh, I was reading it over to understand it. But I believe I get it. I remember it was the endless complexities of life are the reflections of the endless reverberations. So what goes back and forth and augmentation, which is what rise up and down and diminishes what augmentation what goes up and diminutions which go down of the field compounded by their harmonics and other interactions. It was just interesting to me because yeah, the complexities of life are reflections of the vibration, the what goes ups and the ups and downs, and was echoed back and forth, and it's compounded by their harmonics and other interactions. I just thought that was interesting because it's like a whole nother world, that we see that's basically affected. We're affected by that, the unseen, what we don't see.
I agree with that.
Did I? What I left out?
Say it again.
Did I leave something out?
Did you leave? Why you feel like that?
Okay, just ask.
No, no. I was just letting you not only answer but get acclimated to you just getting in here. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
there's no doubt. And I'm doing the engineering work back here, clearing the space out for you to be seen clear.
Mm-hmm.
All right, run away clear.
Continue.
Yeah.
All right. So the critical point analysis. The traditional Newtonian concept of causality, see below, had excluded all such non-deterministic data because such information did not fit into its paradigm.
Mm-hmm.
Let me stop there. Let me go over this top one.
Please.
I will read it down. The traditional Newtonian concept of causality had excluded all such non-deterministic data because such information did not fit into its paradigm.
Yeah, hell yeah. So this is the thing about it. How could you be missing 3 quarters and give me 1 quarter and say I'm full with it? I got it all. With their concept and this our belief system, what didn't fit in what they call so-called missing, they got rid of it.
Mm-hmm.
So how could we judge something right? We're missing 3 quarters of it. So how could we judge it fully, wholly? We missing 3 quarters of it.
Yeah,
That's impossible. So now you gotta go back on yourself, period, at all.
With the discoveries of Einstein, Heisenberg, Bell, Bohr, Bell, Bohr, and others, our model of the universe expanded rapidly. Advanced theoretical physics demonstrated that everything in the universe is subtly dependent upon and interactive with everything else.
Read it again, please, from advanced theological physics.
Advanced theoretical physics demonstrated that everything in the universe is subtly dependent upon and interactive with everything else.
And this is the illusion of depression, anxiety, schizophrenia, because we think we're not connected. Once you understand the quantum physics, feel that everything is connected on every level. You get rid of that meanness and get into weakness and start being so selfish, thinking only you going through this. Then you start speaking out and start expressing what's going on, and then you release it because now you're not being selfish anymore. You understand? It's not just you going through stuff. It's a collective consciousness that want to pass through you, but you're being so selfish and you don't want to even feel it.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't know on the bigger scale, on the universal scale, truly what you're doing and how fortunate you are to be the one that can break that chain in the DNA of universal curses. If you allow yourself just to feel that and release
It makes sense. I watched a video years ago. And this guy, he said, you have self confidence,
it.
and then you have group confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, if you look at the group in whole,
Group confidence, I like that.
If,
Go ahead, I'm listening.
if one person can have the self esteem to get himself back up or herself back up and continue in life, but if you look at the group at whole, if the whole group itself is at a low vibration, it will stay there.
Of course.
You might have certain outliers,
Mm-hmm.
but overall the group itself is going to be um, going through the same thing and not knowing that they're going through the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
What you
Mm-hmm.
said is, hey, it's just not me. We're all going through this.
Fact.
And that's where communication, talking about feelings comes in. But society
Being vulnerable, especially us as males.
Yeah. But society said
Of
no.
course.
You just get in there. You're good.
Low vibration society, we should say. I would say.
Low
More
society.
specifically, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, you want to read?
Go ahead.
I can read.
Huh?
I can read.
Sure, back to these first.
Okay, no problem. Let me get you back on camera. My video friend here paused on me. There is sleep now. Oh, too fast. Slow down. Here we go. Yeah, y'all meet Professor Hunt and I got my glasses on, got my readers. You know what I'm saying? If I look at anything else, this shit is blurry as fuck. It's just for read, trust me. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The classic Newtonian four-dimensional universe is often described as a giant clockwork, with the three dimensions of space manifesting linear processes in time.
Read that first. Stop, please read that again.
The classic Newtonian four-dimensional universe is often described as a giant clockwork, with the three dimensions of space manifesting linear processes in time.
Okay, pause there for a second. That fourth dimension, I just want you to understand this for a second.
I don't hear much about 4D. Go ahead.
They won't talk about it because 4D is where every aspect of you is at. You're happy, you're sad, your joy. Every way you can show up is in 4D. So most people don't want to go to 4D because it's so confusing. I was raised in 4D with depression. You feel what I'm saying? So when you go to 4D, you gotta deal with yourself in every aspect of the way you can show up. and accept that in 4D.
Mm-hmm.
5D when everything is formed. 3D is contextual. So most people ain't gonna talk about 4D because most people haven't lived in 4D. With me being bipolar and having depression, that's the fuck up where I was at. One minute I'm here, next minute I'm there, next minute I'm there. Schizophrenia.
Okay, so
autism. Yeah, they there.
So wait. So 3D is the
Contextual version.
Right.
Yes.
4D is where feelings.
No. Every aspect of yourself is you can show up.
Oh, can show up.
It's already there.
I think I was there.
It's
today.
already it's already there. Yeah, so that's 4D. Every aspect you can show up emotionally is in 4D.
Okay, so I guess I'll ask later.
No, actually not.
What can you do in the 4D? Like, how can you
just be
just
and
be.
accept, and that would allowing coming in, because you can attach to happy, you can attach to joy. So that's up to you what you want to attach to.
Mm-hmm.
But when I went through a day, when I pulled them cars up, I attached to first off in the sadness.
Mm-hmm.
Then I said, you know what? Let me choose something else. Then joy came.
Mm-hmm.
This is what we have the willpower to choose how I'm gonna show up in the 3D based on my 4D, because the 5D gonna synchronicity with me already as it is.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
Yes, I'm making it.
I see.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So they're not. Most people are not gonna talk to 4D because most people never experience 4D.
Mm-hmm.
When people going through like bipolarism, so-called ADHD, so-called bad kids, they're in 4D.
So why? Oh, I see what you're saying. So it's good to experience 4D and not run away from 4D. That's what you're saying?
It's allowing.
Allowing.
Yeah, because see, most people try to control.
Oh, got you.
So now, so let me show you the 4D. We talking about 4D. Most people don't talk about 4D. So you might be in 4D when you feeling joy, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then when sorrow come up, you still in 4D. You won't express that because you too be feeling joy. So now I'm not allowing 4D to represent itself in its totality. I don't want to represent only in joy. So now I ain't gonna talk about. So now I feel like something missing. Life don't have its purpose because whatever going on in my 3D ain't matching my 4D. So now I'm feeling depressed. So now depression in 4D kicks in. I ain't worrying about nothing else. 3D is fucking me up. I pretend on. But in my 4D, I'm stuck in this energy because I don't understand how to get the 5D to my higher self to release myself from the spell. Because there's a spell on my head. It want to hypnotize me to use my body to do it all kind of fuckery what it does with it. And then when it's exasperated, it's time with it to get back to me and jump for somebody else.
And what did my nephew say? What they say? My nephew said about the curse.
A curse has no expiration date; it has to be broken.
Right.
And then we under a curse. Because we believe in that we believe in that we less than and something outside of ourselves gonna save us.
Right.
We're not taught to look in. Like it's not inside. It's something outside.
Mm-hmm.
Some outside you gonna say we waiting for that day. That something outside the sky or something outside we're gonna happen. It's not gonna happen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, you keep reading.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. If we look at even simpler clockworks, we will notice that some gears move slowly and ponderously, while others move very rapidly, and tiny balances twirl about an escape mechanism seesaw back and forth. To place pressure on one of the large moving gears would have little effect on the mechanisms. However, However, somewhere there is a delicate balance mechanism at which the slightest touch stops the entire device.
Can you read that sentence over again, please?
Yes. If we look at even simpler clockworks, we will notice that some gears move slowly and ponderously, while others move very rapidly and tiny balances twirl about as escape mechanisms seesaw back and forth. To place pressure on one of the large moving gears would have little effect on the mechanism. However, somewhere there is a delicate balance mechanism at which the slightest touch stops the entire device.
Keep going.
This is identified as the critical point, where the least force exerts the greatest effect.
Read that last sentence again.
This is identified as the critical point, where the least force exerts the greatest effect.
Les, you have something to say. I see you twitch over there. What you have to say, Les?
Although it makes sense, you know, as you read the last sentence. I'm reading this other book. It's called 80/20, the 80/20 principle of sales and marketing.
Mm-hmm.
And he says that 80% of the results or work that you see comes from the 20% input that you put in, right? And if we can focus, and he says everything is 80/20, right? This is a law in of the universe. And some of them like creation 80/20. If you have 10 people, 20% are the highest producers, two of them are the highest producers, and then 20% of the next 80% is the highest producer. From there.
I'm with y'all love numbers.
So it makes sense when it says, where the least force exerts the greatest energy. So you have the ability to do 20% of the work, but have 80% of the impact of the output of it.
Facts. Big Nanny got something to say? Nothing. Nothing at all.
No, they did. They're gonna give the example soon. Yeah.
So basically, what they saying is, you don't have to touch a big gear to make a difference. It's one small spot that you can touch and make a huge difference. Same thing with energy. You can transform from a lower vibration to higher vibration once you find that critical point. Les, you got next?
Yeah. Causality. Causality within the observable world. Causality has conventionality. Conventionally, then presumed to work in the following manner. This is called a deterministic linear sequence, like billiard balls sequentially striking each other. The implicit presumption is that A causes B, B causes A causes B, B causes C. But our own research indicates that causality operates in a completely different manner, in which the attractor pattern complex ABC splits through its operants and is expressed as the seeing sequence A, then B, then C of perception.
Yeah, this had threw me for a loop when I read this. Do you understand the concept?
No, not off the top. I have to let it sink in a little bit.
Yeah. So it's basically that. Okay, I'll let him explain. I was about to explain.
Go ahead.
I'll let you explain.
Why you gotta let me
We're
explain?
talking about the operants.
What's mean the operant? Oh,
Yes,
the
the
operant.
operants.
Oh man, the operant. My lane. So Les, what was the question?
No, she's
No. He just finished reading this. He stopped
Oh,
here.
Les, you have my glasses, please. I can't see shit.
Really?
What? Man. Whoa. Okay. Now I'm talking with you. What happened now?
We just finished reading. He just finished reading Perception. So I was asking him if he understood the diagram.
What was your response? What was your response,
yeah.
Les?
Not off the surface. I have to let it digest a little bit.
Gotcha. So did you read the next paragraph from this diagram?
No, just the first.
So when you look at the diagram under it, it'll make sense what the operants are. If you look at the other diagram, it kind of looks at them arrows that pointing down. Basically like this, it's the agent what helps the invisible become visible. Yeah. Without the operants, what makes me cool is the operant see the invisible and the visible. Without the operant, the invisible couldn't be visible. The operant is very important.
From this diagram, we see that the source ABC, which is unobservable, results in the visible sequence ABC.
Go read that again, please.
From this diagram, we see that the source ABC, which is unobservable.
What that said, unobservable, right? You can't see it. It means invisible, right? Okay, keep going.
Results in the physical sequence ABC.
Results in the visible.
Yeah, results in the visible sequence ABC.
Hold on, let me show you how to read that. So it's an arrow now, right?
Right.
So it means this is sequence A, then B.
Oh, then B. Okay.
Then C. This called sequence. This causality. What it's speaking about.
Okay.
Yeah, that was causality. A causes B. B causes C.
Yeah, I read that.
Okay, go ahead.
I got you. Results in the visible sequence A then B
Mm-hmm.
then C,
Mm-hmm.
which is an observable phenomenon within
Mm-hmm.
the measurable three-dimensional world.
Read that last part again.
Which is an observable phenomenon
Mm-hmm.
within the measurable three-dimensional world.
And a measurable three-dimensional world based on science. Yes, science has to be measurable. It has to be have to touch it to see it. That's why the chaos theory or nonlinear dynamics didn't matter to them because they couldn't have an equation for it. I couldn't touch it; it wasn't tangible. That's why they deleted it. That's why it was so-called invisible data or math data that meant nothing really had something to it based on right there because it wasn't measurable in a 3D world. Mm-hmm.
The the typical pro- the typical problems the world attempts to deal with exist on the observable level of A and B and C.
Mm-hmm.
But our work is to find the inherent attractive aggregate, the ABC, out of which the A, then B, then C seems to rise.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So kind of what I said earlier, the invisible become invisible. So the ABC is the invisible, then the A to the B to the C is invisible. It is invisible.
I was I know you said science. So then we the science exists so that we can understand the world around us, the physical world around us, right? Well, that's what
Somewhat.
I've been.
Somewhat. Mm-hmm.
Right. So if the I guess if that's what human science is, then then isn't their science sort of off, or their foundation of what they think of science off, where they should there should be a place for this thing that they threw away?
So yes.
And then before we get into that, I was with the guy where the author of the guy Mental High,
Mm-hmm.
the book. He had a video. He was talking about them. He says, um, "This is
What was your question again before I forget?
no problem. Um, if I know you said the word science,
Mm-hmm.
if they're saying that if we use science to understand the world around us,
Mm-hmm.
then they believe that everything around that they're looking at and touching should have a place there, a formula.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but if they threw away that thing that we needed,
Mm-hmm.
then isn't the foundation
Mm-hmm.
of their science sort of off?"
Yes, let me answer that. It is. So what they did was they have progressively divorced trying to use science to exhibit where life comes from. They stopped doing it. Once they
When they stop doing that,
because the computers were able to show them that in that so-called math where they thought it had no data in it, start presenting numbers and graphs and pictures. So now you got the tree of life and the flower of life start showing up in different diagrams based on how AI computers now. So now they truly got rid of that with science, but they didn't come on a news like, hey, science no longer can prove it. We're on non-linear. You never did that. So science stopped trying to prove what existing life came from because they realized it was unequivalent to doing that.
okay,
Mm-hmm.
okay. Um, I guess that'll be the last one. In this simple diagram, the operants transcend both the observable and the non-observable.
Can you read it again, please?
In this simple diagram,
Mm-hmm.
the operants transcend both the observable and the non-observable. We might picture them as a rainbow bridging the deterministic and the non-deterministic realms.
Okay, pause there for a second. A rainbow bridge. The best way I describe that is the movie Thor. You see the movie Thor?
I know that's implicit.
Yeah, so when they actually connected in and the gate and the gatekeeper let them in, it was a rainbow bridge that connect to non-visible to visible. So it's kind of giving you understanding of where it's coming from. And the operant is the device that's used to help it manifest into that. So the ABC through the operants comes the A, then the B, and then the C.
I got you.
Yeah.
I got you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, basically, it's the arrows. The arrows is the physical thing that you see that's connected.
Not at all. It's not. It's not. You can't even see it.
Okay.
The operas are what help you bring it to the. Because remember, the invisible has to go through something to be visible. the operance is what the invisible goes through to become visible to the more logical left brain type people.
Okay, got you. The existence of so-called operants can be inferred by asking the question: what encompasses both the possible and the impossible,
Mm-hmm.
the known and the unknown? In other words, what is the matrix of all possibilities?
Read that last question again, please.
Uh, the existence of so-called operants can be inferred by asking the question: what encompasses both the possible and the impossible, the known and the unknown? In other words, what is the matrix of all possibilities?
Mm-hmm. Okay, next chapter.
You just gonna
What happened?
just gonna keep going.
Well, what you got to say, y'all? Talk to me.
Well, I'm just saying,
What
like
you
you're not
saying?
gonna.
I'm listening. I'm not gonna what? Talk to me. Did I miss something? I might have blanked out just now.
No, you didn't. I mean, you didn't miss anything, but
I always actually get ready to type it on the bottom of the screen to talk about what's the matrix of all
oh, okay,
possibilities.
oh,
That what
okay,
you're talking about?
yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to type it right here, man.
Oh, okay.
You like you just gonna keep going. You ain't gonna stop. Yeah, that's an interesting question. What is the matrix of all possibilities?
Hmm.
Les?
Um, looking at this for what it is, uh, the first time I heard the word matrix was from the movie,
Mm-hmm.
and it's basically the this fake world, right? From what the movie said, it's a place that's not real, that's made up.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I don't know what he means by is. Did you watch the Matrix 2? Is he saying, hey, this?
The matrix just mean what is built on, the system. That's all it
Okay,
means.
okay, okay, okay. In other words, what is the matrix of all possibilities?
What the? There's something new that just happened here. Mm-hmm.
I'll read that one more time. This description of how the universe works is in accord with the theories of physicist David Bohm, who has described a holographic universe with an invisible implicate enfolded in a manifest explicit implicate unfolded order. But is most important to note that this scientific insight corresponds with the view of reality experienced through history by enlightened sages who have evolved around consciousness to the state of pure awareness.
Hmm.
Bohm postulates a source that is beyond both the how you say that word?
Postulates a source that is beyond both the. Oh wait, where are you?
I'm at the last sentence.
Oh, boom. Postulates a source that is beyond both the explicate.
Yeah, explicate and implicate realms, very much like the state of pure awareness described by the sages.
Beyond both the explicate and
Back up.
Yes, back up. How you spell chaos?
Yeah, I'm sorry, CHAOS.
AOS.
Yeah.
No, there we go.
I wonder if Bloom got his theory himself, or was it from the sages or different people that experienced.
Nothing can come from yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It's impossible. It has to come from that if you open yourself up to that.
No, I mean him going within himself, or just by getting uh, statistics.
Everything has to go come within,
Mm-hmm.
no doubt. Of course, because they have to be invisible within you to for them in order to manifest.
Mm-hmm.
Or that's the type of HUSC. Like everything mostly comes from that.
Mm-hmm.
Cause that's more like power, not force. So I have to continually feed it.
Mm.
Next, anything else y'all want to discuss about that? I was trying to get the systems back up, so I eventually wasn't here. Yeah, hey man, whoever that one rider is, I appreciate you on YouTube. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You would have ride or die. And one right now, but after a while, come like 3 million. So just watch it grow. Trust me. Where you at, Les?
I just finished reading this top chapter. I guess if you want to continue.
On 68.
Yeah, 68.
That's not you on right here.
Yeah.
The advent of artificial intelligence.
So I can see when y'all want to read next.
Okay, I can read that because this is what we're speaking about. Yeah, you have anything else you want to speak about?
Mm-mm.
Oh, and the one last thing, the enfolding means inside. When it's unfolding, it's been shown outside. So the enfolding is being unfolded. The advent of artificial intelligence supercomputers has allowed the application of the theories of nonlinear dynamics to be applied to the study of brain function. Whoa. The advent of artificial intelligence supercomputers has allowed the application of the theories of nonlinear dynamics to be applied to the study of brain function through the technology technique of neuropsychological modeling. The function of memory is especially being studied by means of neural models, among which attractor networks have been identified. I'm gonna say it again. The function of memory is especially being studied by means of neural models, among which attractor networks have been identified. Conclusions of current research are that the brain's neural networks act as a system of attractor patterns so that the system does not behave. I apologize. So the system does not behave in a random fashion overall. I'm read it again. Conclusions of current research are that the brain's neural networks act as a system of attractor patterns so that the system does not behave in a random fashion overall, although each individual neuron may behave in a seemingly random fashion. Anything I gotta say about that?
I think you said that early on in the chapter. I forgot what the part was.
About that, you got a system in your brain that makes sure you don't act out randomly.
Yeah, that part. I think I had to highlight it so I remember where it is exactly. But if you when y'all want to add a input.
You said you didn't.
No, I'm looking for when you guys want to add input.
Oh, got you. Yeah, anything you want to say before we move on?
Trying to remember.
Everybody try to remember.
No, I'm trying to remember. The system of attractor patterns. Oh, this is a whole thing.
Hmm?
Okay, the system of attractor patterns, right? Um, where does the system come from?
There's no system. The system is only in the brain.
Right, the system of attractor patterns, right?
You say the brain neurons act as a system of, and the brain act as a system of attractor patterns. Only the brain.
Right, the brain acts as a system of attractor patterns. Okay, I see.
Mm-hmm.
Because the brain is the program.
The brain what houses it.
Houses the program.
Mm-hmm.
The neural.
Mm-hmm. The neural networks.
The neural networks.
Yeah.
Right.
And then the next one gonna actually explain what you're probably asking. You want to read it?
Me? Okay.
Yeah.
Neuron models of consciousness disclose a class of neural networks called constraint satisfaction systems. network. Oh, let me read it. Neural models of consciousness disclose a class of neural networks called constraint satisfaction systems. In these systems, a network of interconnected neuron units operates within a series of limits and thus sets up attractive patterns, some of which are now being identified with psychopathology.
Mm.
This kind of modeling correlates behavior with physiology and parallels the results of our kines, kine, kin, wait,
Physiology.
Kinesiology.
kinesis is what is logic.
Kinesiology.
Kinesiologic muscle testing, demonstrating the connection between mind and body. Really good again. Um, this kind of modeling correlates behavior with physiology and parallels the result of our kinesiologic muscle testing, demonstrating the connection between mind and body.
Read that last sentence again, please.
This kind of modeling correlates behavior with physiology and parallels the results of our kinesiologic muscle testing, demonstrating the connection between mind and body.
Mm-hmm.
So what does kinesiology have to do with the system, the network
Nothing.
system?
Nothing at all. These allergies just show that if you think it's positive, your muscles stay strong.
Right.
If you have a weak thought, your muscles go weak. The system you speak about is something that only hardwires for your brain, so you don't have to run. It's two separate things.
So why does it say that the model parallels the results of the kinesiologic muscle testing?
The parallels mean it shows muscle testing shows that the mind and body connect. So if
Mm-hmm.
I ask you a question is not true, you go weak. If it's strong, no matter what I do, your arm or your whatever won't go down. They're mostly doing an arm test.
Mm-hmm.
I think you kind of confuse the two together. You intertwine them, and they separate into that. Why I say they're parallel.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, we're parallel but not
Yeah,
together.
yeah,
Okay.
it's not together.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Question before we go ahead. Which one are you on now? New role models?
In time.
Huh?
Next,
Okay, there we go. In terms derived from the chaos theory, the clinical study described in the following pages as identified as space, encompassing the full range of the evolution of human consciousness. I'll read this over again. In turn derived from chaos theory, which is nonlinear dynamics, the clinical study described in the following pages has identified a phase space encompassing the full range of the evolution of human consciousness. Within this range, numerous attractive patterns of increasing power have been denoted. These patterns represent energy fields that are qualities of consciousness itself rather than of any other particular individual. These patterns represent energy fields that are qualities of consciousness itself rather than of any particular individual, as is shown by their occurrence across large populations over long periods of time, independent of testers or subjects. Anybody got any feedback on that? Questions, comments? We're talking about the chaos theory, so-called, which helped them understand what was going on. Mm-hmm. And the chaos theory just means that a bunch of so-called seamless mass and no data actually has a good way to tell me let that thing go.
oh God,
I seen your eyes get big, so I knew something was going on. Yeah, man, good way to talk to me. So yeah, man. So now the so-called chaos theory is showing you that the universe has an order and it has a place. So now there's no such thing actually as the chaos theory. It was only a theory, but now the nonlinear dynamics is actually taking place and showing you that the chaos theory is actually non-linear dynamics. So understand that there's no such thing as chaos theory.
Did they change the name or is still considered?
It's still, well, the chaos theory well, what it was called first. Once the computers came on the AI, they started seeing pictures. They understood that was nonlinear dynamics. So it's kind of AKA. Okay. Yeah, AKA. A lot of stuff is actually covered in chapter 8. That's why it's going to be our next chapter, Source of Power, which in chapter 8 it kind of understands what I'm speaking about right here. Make sense? A lot. Okay, we are in. Did I read? I finished that? I think I did. Chapter 29. Yes. Anything to say about that? Oh, that's y'all little. Oh, I do got something. No wonder why. Chapter 29. That's anything you want to add to that? That actually consciousness doesn't have a particular individual, but it's like quality of consciousness, not quality of a person. Yeah, that's what it is. This part right here. These patterns represent energy fields that are quality of consciousness itself rather than of any particular individual.
It makes sense.
Okay.
I think it's similar to what you said. You asked a question about physicist David Bloom. You asked, hey, did he come up with this from inside? And after, what was your response to that?
She said this he couldn't do it by himself.
Yeah.
He said nothing comes up by it. Nothing comes up with nobody by it. Everything comes up with you. Yeah.
I got you. Okay. That's it.
Okay, next one.
Next one, all right, I'll take this one. The evolution of consciousness is the development of human society. The evolution of consciousness and the development of human society can be depicted in the mathematical terms of nonlinear dynamics.
Here we go again, please.
The evolution of consciousness and the development of human society can be depicted in mathematical terms of nonlinear dynamics. Our body concerns itself with a limited set of parameters of consciousness that we calibrated from 1 to 1,000.
No, that's the chart we know world on page 319. That's the chart you're referring to. Different.
Okay. There's 1,000?
1,000 was enlightenment.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I thought it was individual at 1, 2, 3.
Oh no.
It's going by 10, 100.
Yeah, it's going by 10. Okay. We're reading with the next 10. It's going to be there.
The numbers represent the how you say that word? Logarithm to the base 10 of the power of the respective fields. The field, the entire field or phase space of consciousness itself is unlimited.
Read that again, please.
The entire field or phase space of consciousness itself is unlimited.
Right.
Going on up to infinity. The range of 1 to 600. The range of 1 to 600 representing the domain of the vast majority of human experience is the primary scope of this study. The levels from 600 to 1,000, the realm of non-ordinary evolution.
Read that last one again for the levels from 600 to 1,000, please.
Yeah, the level from 600 to 1,000, the realm of non-ordinary evolution. That of enlightenment, sages, and highest spiritual states will later be described.
Any feedback on that, my brother?
It makes sense now. It makes sense why you started at the 1,000.
Right, so you can see. Right. So you'll be curious about it.
Yeah.
Y'all anything to say about this?
I'm just thinking about how it goes to infinity.
Right, no doubt. But because see, this why I appreciate when it says it can be calibrated to a mathematical term. It helps a lot of people that left brain, but need logic. But while a lot of people need reason, logic, but left brain. That's why most people can't get to love because they're stuck in reason. They're so left brain. I need the equation. Like it got to be a sequence. Something got to happen. You stuck in it. So that's why only 4% get to 650, which is 554, which is joy. Most people stuck at a reason because they're so logical brain. More artists, more poetry. They right brain. They see a picture, not a situation. How do I get something that's invisible in my brain and make it visible? That's what right, if that makes sense.
It makes sense. Like Bubba, he said, these walls that we live in, we created them.
Right.
You know, we created this, and we sort of put ourselves in this chaos and misery that we put ourselves through. And it's like man himself wants to control. Man himself measures everything with the form of control. Right? You know, this has to be this way, I have to do this, that. Like I think about geography in terms of state, county, cities within city, and how 100, 200 years ago, how they did the surveying of the land beforehand and say, okay, people could live here, people could live there. And I'm like, damn, you guys already measured everything beforehand and saying we can't live.
If they system.
Yeah.
You know, damn.
It has to be measured.
Okay. Who want to read next?
Actually, I'll take it.
Okay, good.
Within the total field study, sequential patterns emerged identifying progressive powers of attractive fields in which there were local variations, but global consistencies. So-called strange attractors can be of either high or low energy, and the critical point in our data appeared to be the calibration level 200, below which the power of attractors could be described as weak or negative, above which is strong or positive. By the time we reached the calibration 600, they were enormously powerful.
You see what I'm saying? There's different levels to this. But the critical point is when you 200 and better, you become empowered. When you 200 lower, it can be a weaker or a negative attractive pattern. It's either you high or low, you positive or negative. Ain't no in between. Ain't no third party. Either you high or low, or you negative or positive. The negative or positive is not a good or bad. It just is. It just is. Make sense?
That makes sense. I read this last one.
Now you like reading?
Oh, good. Okay.
Huh?
I don't want to.
Okay, no, don't worry. You don't read something. You don't worry. Wait, yeah, why you looking pop like that? You know, when I see you here, easy. Why you looking like a killer? That sauce and that one. Easy. Look at that picture. Look at you. Boy, you just missed it. You changed it just then. What? Go ahead.
An important element of chaos theory.
Yes.
An important element of chaos theory, which is helpful in understanding this evolution of consciousness, is the law of sensitive dependence on initial conditions.
Whoa, read that over again. That's my word.
An important element of chaos theory, which is helpful in understanding this evolution of consciousness, is the law of sensitive dependence on initial conditions, aka butterfly effect. This refers to the fact that a slight variation over a course of time can have the effect of producing a profound change, much as a ship whose bearing is 1 degree off compass will eventually find itself hundreds of miles off course. This phenomenon, which we will refer to in more detail later, is an essential mechanism of all evolution and also underlies the potential of the creative process.
You said something. You said butterfly effect. What do you mean by that? What's that?
What doing something small and then that can lead to something big. Is that what the butterfly effect is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You talking about non-linear dynamic? I mean, the law sense depending on initial conditions. Yes, that's exactly what it means. I think the next sentence is going to speak about that, right? No?
Next part?
I believe so.
Well, it talks about in this paragraph about the ship.
Right. Now, let's ask you what it meant, right? You understood what it meant?
Yeah, no, she said, yeah.
Okay. Next. Good. I don't know, unless you flight reading?
Yeah, I'll finish it.
Okay. Did you finish your paragraph though? Okay, cool.
An overview can see that from time immemorially, man has tried to make sense of the enormous complexity and frequent unpredictability of human behavior. Mm-hmm. A multitude of systems has been constructed to try to make that which is uncomprehensible comprehensible. Read that again. A multitude of systems. A multitude of systems have been constructed to try to make that which is incomprehensible comprehensible. Mm-hmm. To make sense has ordinarily meant to be definable in terms that are linear. Read that sentence again, please. To make sense has ordinarily meant to be definable in terms that are linear. That's science. Logical and rational. But the process and therefore the experience of life itself is organic. That is to say, nonlinear by definition. This is the source of equal wish. Read that again, please. This is the source of man's inescapable intellectual frustration. In this study, however, test responses were independent of articulate. Belief systems were intellectual content. What emerged were patterns of individuals that were aspects of consciousness itself, irrespective of individual identity. Here we are again, please, from where it said what emerged. What emerged were patterns of individuals that were aspects of consciousness. Consciousness itself, irrespective of individual identity. Right. In common left brain, right brain parallels, we can say that the test subject reacted verbally to an attractive view, irrespective of the individual variation of the left brain logic, reason, or sequential thought system. The results of the study indicate that profoundly powerful patterns organize human behavior. Read the lessons again, please. The results of study indicate that profoundly powerful patterns organize human behavior. Organize human behavior. So you think it's chaos, but it's not chaos. Chaos theory has been thrown out the window. It's non-linear dynamics. And what we think that happens sporadically is actually programmed in us. How does that make you feel? We think somebody's acting out randomly. They're not. They're programmed to do that. Yeah. So nothing happens. So even if something whatever you think, see, your emotions make you gauge it shouldn't be happening based on your small paradigm. But whatever happens is a rhythm in you that's supposed to happen. Us as human with such a small mind, oh, that's so bad. Based on what? So whatever happens is divinely supposed to happen. We just think something good will happen divine. It's good and bad. But we're judging what good and bad is based on limited belief system. Nature, like you go in the jungle is naturally organized the way it should be, but our limited mindset need to organize. You got a beautiful garden. If you don't maintain that garden, it won't damage you. It's not organic. It's inorganic. You're maintaining it. If you leave it alone, it's gonna be chaos. So-called chaos. But there's order in that. So now we understand it. Going back to nature, there's order in nature. We make it so-called chaos, but we don't understand. I was reading a book, I don't know. The Coming Forth by Day, also known as the Black Sun. But the guy said in the beginning there was chaos from the global waters, and he explained chaos didn't mean that it was chaotic street. There was no law, there was no order, there was no house, there was none of that. It was just chaos. But chaos does mean order, though. Right, but what you were saying is, it was none of that. Like there was no laws to set anything in place with anything meaning. But I would have had meaning though. You see what I'm saying? If everything was in place already. Right. It's us because we don't understand it. Because everything came from dark. Yeah. Light wasn't here first. So it's already order, but just they understand it, they thought it would matter. Matter is everywhere. That's dark matter. It wasn't light matter. The strongest force is darkness.
bro. Like a black hole. Yeah. It's faster than light. Light can explain. Light can't get out of it. But people want to magnify light, but darkness was here way before light was. That's why the Most High was on the dark said, "Let there be light," because there was darkness.
So then, even on the point of how how there is a way that we should go with instead of going against the way where things are much more balanced.
Based on what though? You gotta look at what system you're using and saying that.
Okay, just to put it plain simple, if you keep eating sugar, mm-hmm. like that, your teeth will fall out, mm-hmm. Back breath, mm-hmm. But if you say, okay, I don't like this feeling, what can I do to not have this feeling? Mm-hmm. If you find a solution, mm-hmm. I'm going to stop eating sugar, mm-hmm. as much as stop eating alcohol. Right. Right. So that's the example I gave earlier was, hey, that's the floor of like, okay, for me, I want to be more here where I don't have to fast food. So I'm gonna stop doing this.
Well, that's the uncomfortableness what helps you see that. It's the toothache that makes you see that. So the flow is uncomfortableness what helps you get that. Yeah, because while you eating is cool, the uncomfortable make you realize I shouldn't be doing it. That's what throws for me off. You know what makes sense to you? Mm-hmm. Last chapter, our study correlate. You read that? You finished that whole last chapter, right?
Let me go back. No.
You're the only one where I said speaking about where into it, the infinite domain of infinite potential.
No, I have that.
Oh, where you there?
The one before it. This one and then the top.
Oh no, hey, did you finish reading that? Yeah. Okay, cool. So now next. Okay, I guess I'll read. We can intuit in an infinite domain of infinite potential, consciousness itself, within which there is an enormous, powerful, attractive field organizing all human behavior into what a innate of humanness. Read it again. Within which there is an enormous, powerful, attractive field organizing all human behavior into what is innate to humanness. Within a giant attractive field are lesser fields of progressively less energy and power. These fields, in turn, dominate behavior. So definable patterns are consistent across cultures and time throughout human history. The interaction of these variations within attractive fields make up the history of civilization and mankind. A side study not herein reported indicated that the animal and vegetable kingdoms are also controlled by attractive fields of hierarchy power. Makes sense? Mm-hmm. Anybody have any statements or want to read this last paragraph? Big Nan, I think it's fitting that if we're speaking about God energy, you should read the last paragraph. In my mind, and good thing you said you would read it because I volunteered you. So we're on the same frequency.
Our study correlates well with Rupert Sheldrake's morphogenic field hypothesis, as well as with Carl Cleveland's holographic model of brain-mind function.
Pause for a second. That morphogenic field is called M field. What I was telling you about.
Oh, this is the M field.
Yes, them are the M field.
You know, so crazy. The whole time that you've been saying M fields, I'm thinking it's EM field.
Wow. That's what it is. M fields. So morphogenetic fields hypothesis